would have thought there was so much work involved in producing a book. Certainly not me. But even after My Name's Doddie has gone to press, after all the various editions and edits and checks and changes, what comes after it appears on the shelves is something I'd never bargained for. Photos, the launch party, media interviews, reviews, festivals, TV and radio appearances. We were always coming away on holiday to Mallorca for a week at the lovely villa owned by Graham Wiley, a big supporter of Newcastle Falcons. Firstly, it gives us time to get away as a family while the schools are on holiday. Secondly, it's a lovely place to visit for Cathy's birthday. And thirdly, I can get some sun and a bit of a solar recharge before, if my schedule is anything to go by, what will be a full-on blast all the way to Christmas. We arrive in advance of the weekend before the kids join us, so it's just me and my adoring wife in the villa. Idyllic, peaceful and picturesque. And the house wasn't bad either. Having arrived late in the evening, we were just in the door and hadn't even unpacked the bags, but I needed something to eat, being a wee bit peckish, so I decided to have an egg and some toast. I didn't get a chance to enjoy it. I choked on a piece. I tried to cough it up. Nothing. I tried to swallow. I only made it worse. I tried to shout, but wheezed. Cathy was aware of the commotion and came to the rescue. I wasn't in a panic. Well, not immediately. However, I was aware that the toast wasn't going anywhere, but also that I wasn't breathing the way you're supposed to. In fact, I wasn't breathing at all. After everything, was this it? I knew only too well what motor neuron disease could do, particularly what it did to your breathing and when swallowing. Was this me witnessing those horrors firsthand, so unexpectedly? Not that I had time to dwell too much on that. This was, as the last few years had been, survival time. My life wasn't quite flashing before my eyes. Well, it wasn't until Cathy started laying into me. Cathy wasn't really an exponent of the Heimlich manoeuvre. Look it up in all good first aid journals. But she gave it a go. Nothing. Maybe it was me being too tall for her to get enough purchase. She did, though, have a good idea how to make something, a horse, a sheep, a retired rugby international, cough something up in a hurry by thumping me on the back. It was a while since I'd been pummeled like that. I was half expecting to see someone in a Harlequins or All Blacks jersey, but she was a lifesaver. Out the toast popped, in went a gulp of air. I appeared to be sweating, and so was Cathy, although in her case it seemed to be brought on by desperation. And, I may add, a soupçon of anger. She scolded me like a child for being so bloody stupid. She did have a point. 5, then 10, then 15 minutes passed, and I was noticing my breathing was a bit on the painful side, in particular my back, and specifically where Cathy had been unleashing her hammer-like blows. What was causing more discomfort was my throat. It felt totally raw, so painful that I couldn't make out whether or not I still had a lump of bread wedged down there. After some toing and froing, the good lady and I decided there was only one thing to do: phone Annabel Howell from the Borders General Hospital. Dr. Howell, when she's doing her day job, is Associate Medical Director at NHS Borders and lead for palliative and realistic medicine. Annabel, through being local and because of MND, was now playing a more significant part in our daily lives. Now we really needed her advice. I know you might be thinking, why not call a local GP or the hospital or an ambulance? However, whether we could have made ourselves understood during such a fraught and frightening episode was just something that could have added to our predicament, rather than bringing a solution. Annabel was great, and so calm hundreds of miles away down the phone, coming up with lots of suggestions as to what I might try that would be of benefit, without creating even more of a drama. She had me eating butter, sipping water, and drinking fizzy coke, all of which cleared my airway and eased the rawness in my throat, though the pain was still very uncomfortable. The trip to the doctor was in order first thing on the Monday, and he was terrific, understanding, and very comforting. Nothing was broken, but he gave me some painkillers. It could, without being too dramatic, have been a trip to the mortuary rather than to see the local GP.